Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Tech IT Podcast. This is the May 21st edition of 2022. We've got a couple of good stories on you as we're going to try to beat this out one quick. Much like a lot of things these days in a world that seems to have no patience for things. We have stories that cover from the likes of the conversations regarding our teams still going to be a thing in the future, just regular teams, the current status of the tech bubble may be bursting, as well as the CDC effectively tracking millions of phones supposedly during the crux of the pandemic, Microsoft testing Android on Windows 11, as well as trepidations that occurred with the promotions done on Grubhub this past week, as well as many different emerging technologies that we have found over the course of this weekend. Then some. I'm your host Gregory with my friend Mike here. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How you doing, Greg?
I'm doing good. Just picking up some side work in my dad's flower warehouse has humbled me a bit, but it's good to just be involved and not just loaf around. Also, getting paper.
Yeah. Well, it was kind of you to help out. Let's jump right into it this week because we're trying to get this one out in like 40 minutes today because we got stuff to do. So let's jump right into the tech wreck. The dot com bubble burst is what they're calling this. The so for us it's the tech bubble, right? And there's been a huge dip in the market.
Yeah,
Um,
the trepidation has been. I should stop saying trepidation. The simplest way I can say it is, the tech market is at a weird state right now where the market itself has lost well over $5 trillion in value since its November peak, which is more than the Nasdaq dollar losses to the entire dot-com bubble, where this happened over 20 years ago. Last time that this sort of situation occurred with companies from the likes of Peloton, Meta slash Facebook, Twitter, even taking a dip, even from Mr. Musk's ownership of it. Shares took a dip still, as well as other places freezing employment, such as Netflix, who also laid off employees as well due to some statements of theirs not going well, as well as the market not favoring them as well either. But the greater scope of this has been extensive with there's a piece on it on ft.com that goes over how the different amount of drops for the tech market has ranged from either 25% loss or up to 75% to 80% loss, which has been the crux of many things. Again, with Facebook's meltdown the market, as well as specific ones for different companies, as well as fund managers now being told their stocks for technology are underweight for the first time since the recession in 2008 to 2011.
so
So,
what do you
should
think
we be
triggered
panicking about this, Mike? You think?
No, I'm a big fan of tech, so I might be a little bit biased, but I don't think this um I think if you're in the right areas in the tech market that you shouldn't be worried because I think this is more of a fear. People are pulling out because they saw a bunch of people pulling out and it kind of just downtrended. I think
Hmm.
now this is just a lot of speculation here, so don't invest in or pull out based on my words, but it's I think if you're in the right areas, for example, if you're in social media, I don't think like the social media part of tech, I think that's gonna see a downswing. But if you're in like hard dug in technology, like we have out later on this in the show, um like the diamond battery or something like that,
Or IBM companies
or
like IBM,
IBM, like big
Microsoft?
yeah, big blue chip holds like Microsoft, IBM. Um, these companies will probably come back. Um, yeah, so I would hold out long term if you're in these blue chip companies, the some of the bigger ones. If you invested in something smaller like smaller, like a small like startup or something, that might be a bigger risk. Or anything I would say like anything in social media. But I think as far as like investing financially, I think there's going to be a correction. Because I think the bubble was the definition of a bubble is where things are like overvalued. So like the the stocks are valued more. You're paying for more than what they should be. So there's definitely going to be a correction for a lot of the stocks, and then there might be a reformation of the bubble for I think for certain sectors. I don't think all the sectors are going to come back. I think just the big ones and just the ones that show a lot of promise. Like, for example, like Elon Musk, anything with Tesla. Like, if you follow him closely, there's a lot of up and coming stuff in Tesla that I think is gonna like push his stock value up, especially when he releases some of his new products, like the Pi phone. That's so if you think about it, if you look at, the technology he's including in the Pi phone, it's gonna have solar charging, it's gonna have, I assume, the diamond battery, it's gonna have all these huge new technologies that's people are just gonna eat up. They're just so good, like, it's gonna revolutionize the phone industry, so I think that's definitely a good investment there. Um, but enough about that, I could go on this topic for hours.
We'll
Uh,
keep up to date with
yeah.
the tech bubble supposedly bursting, but so far it's mostly the big dogs that have been experiencing a loss, but not like the small guys or I don't know, medium. I don't know why I'm saying guys with all this. Uh,
Yeah. Well, it's definitely something to keep an eye on, and, I
but
think
with these
if
tech
the
companies comes teams, right? And
yeah.
I have here a piece from Harvard Business Review. That's right, that Harvard, where they bring up the conversation of should we still have teams? Like not like sports teams, but like teams just in the workplace, which is a pretty deep topic when you like really think about it. As supposed white collar teams rose to prominence, you can follow along at hbr.org. That the reason teams became so popular in the early '80s was because when they work, they really do work, even though the losses from them could stem from like resources going overblown, scope being too high, or you have a scope creep where you kind of think too much out of the box and you end up losing more than gaining more money.
Yeah,
And
you kinda, like, lose
laws
focus.
like you get you put on too big a pair of pants and then it just falls from under you, as some would say. But a mentor of this piece with HBR said that research consistently shows that teams underperform despite all the extra resources they have. This is quoting him. That's that this is because problems with coordination and motivation typically chip away at the benefits of collaboration. The supposed solutions have derived from helping out the reduced benefits that have happened from teams over time, including even though how team collaboration can help creative and vision and decision making outcomes, it can also kind of work against it like a seesaw effect. But they could say rebrand it as well. Tell me what you think of this term, Mike. Replacing teams with co-acting groups.
I think that's a good rebrand. I think the big problem with teams nowadays is, I don't know, sometimes I feel like I'm in a meeting with a bunch of people and, like, it's kind of either veered off from the topic or just gone on too long. So, like, when you have a team meeting, you have to make sure that the topic is relevant to everybody, or just go in and send out a memo, or to get us like a bunch of sub meetings going, right? Because like if not everybody's involved, or if it's not everyone's department when you're in the meeting, then you're wasting their time, and they're not going to be able to. They're not paying attention, and you're wasting important. company money and time. So keep your meetings short and to the point, and maybe if you have more information to go over, but it's just for specific people in that meeting, maybe get another meeting going, or just a Skype call or voice call or a team call or whatever, just with
Mhm.
those people later on, because you don't want to waste people's time. You don't want them to feel like they're wasting their time. It's just, it's a bad look. So yeah, I think we do need to reassess uh team meetings and working as teams. And I think um collaboration's really powerful, especially early on in development, like if you're developing an app or something. Really, really powerful early on. But when it comes to the end process, when you need to start making big decisions and quickly and get everything nailed out, that comes down to one or two people just saying, okay, this is what we have to do. Let's just get it done. So if you have a big team for that, like there's probably a lot of contrast. So like, yeah, uh that should probably just be handled by a couple people, some of the higher ups, just to make a decision and keep moving forward.
Yeah, because that's my take with this. As I don't think teams should completely go away personally,
Yeah,
but
they're great.
to kind of open up this idea of co-acting groups, which I'm pretty sure I wasn't even familiar with when I looked at it beforehand. But a co-acting group would represent a looser confederation of employees who, quote, dip in and out of collaborative interactions as a project or initiative unfolds. Which, again, this is a less radical solution where I think a more radical solution would just be everyone's for themselves,
Right.
which I don't recommend because uh, I still find that one of the best things I did in my 20 plus years in school or just being amongst other people was in teams. And I'm not saying like a rebrand would help with co-acting as they also think in the same piece that co-acting might also deteriorate some of the reduced benefits from teams already, like camaraderie and just passion, as well as innovative ideas when it's just like a quote less formal meeting when it's just like someone from like one corner of the building and like another corner of the building and someone from like a different sector or department altogether. But the downturn from this has already kind of happened with the effect of the COVID pandemic, reducing in person to remote meetings as well. So I don't know what the co-acting nature would look like in person or virtually when I think I've attended some virtual meetings that are more co-acting by definition anyway. Back when
Hmm.
I worked IT at Beechwood Systems as well as at Kent State University as I finished my degree there. But they believe in this piece that the downside of the way teams are can be mitigated by effective co-acting groups that supposedly recruit employees with qualities such as self-direction, flexibility, and cooperativeness, while also having the idea of avoid over-promising the degree of cohesion and belonging expected to become from this, which they want to like bring up as well with cross-training programs so that everyone kind of has like multiple dips on their table that kind of put their minds into, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But they want to reiterate that in this piece, they're not anti-team at all.
Right. I think they
Where
definitely have their place.
they even had ideas where, and I've seen this on other platforms that aren't this article itself, where I've seen ideas where an idea would be to just get rid of job titles altogether and just replace it with duties and just have it be individualized.
Let's go ahead and jump into the next article here on the CDC and all about their tracking of phones during COVID.
Yeah, so this is a bit technical here. So To best define this, it was revealed that there's a group out there that does collects data called SafeGraph, which, to catch you up, they're currently not allowed on the Google Play Store as of June, or effectively, well, it was as of June of last year, effectively due to taking data and also kind of being malicious in what they're doing. But uh, for full details on what the CDC was doing with this data, you can find it at Vice.com. Which, yes, this is a first for us. We're covering a story from Vice, but yeah, this reveal has been kind of shocking with how this came about. Where this guy Zach Edwards, a cybersecurity researcher who followed the data marketplace, that the CDC seems to have purposely created an open-ended list of use cases, which included monitoring curfews, neighbor-to-neighbor visits, church visits, school and pharmacy visits, and also a variety of analyses with this data supposedly focused on violence. So these documents were, of course, obtained due to the Freedom of Information Act request by parties that weren't mentioned in this article, but some of the use cases include tracking people, again, going to K through 12 grade schools, mobility patterns data, effectively from location data that was sent to SafeGraph.
So
So,
this article also talks about people not following the COVID lockdown orders, right? And they went into uh I didn't get to look deep into this article. I plan to read it later because it's very interesting. So they were saying that people weren't following the guidelines set up by their areas, right?
yeah, they're using cell phone location data.
Now, I'm not a fan of them collecting data without people knowing about it, but
Yeah, that's not right.
I think this is a great study of human behavior, even though it's collected in a kind of sussy way. But I think, look, um, I think it's important that we protect each other. And I don't want to call out the people that weren't following the rules, but I kind of do at the same time. I want to be like, yo, these people weren't following the rules. What are we doing about that? Like, this is a COVID. It was a life and death situation for a lot of people, and especially for Americans. And they were saying that people with respiratory issues were struggling more and more with the pandemic. So I think that's a big issue. Like, it's not just people of a certain age, not like it's people with respiratory issues and other conditions that were affected by this. It was a life or death situation for them. So what was going on here? Do people just not care about their fellow humans or their peers or
It's,
whatever? I think that's
yeah,
an interesting study of human behavior, and I think we need to assess this and uh, take the data back and figure out how, like, because this is probably just a tip of the iceberg, right? For
y-
future pandemics, like, how do we adjust and make it easier for these people to just make decisions that don't put their peers and neighbors and just the human race at risk. You know what I mean?
yeah, because it was a year later, or in 2021. Wait, yeah, in 2021, after Safegraph posts in a blog on April 2020 that they were using the same platitude of, yes, we're playing our part to go against COVID-19 health crisis and its impact on the economy as well as health, making our footprint on traffic data free for nonprofits and government agencies. Which I get that perspective as someone trying to help for the greater good, utilitarian principle. It's just when this reveal comes out, and it mentions this on Vice, this is going to give a lot of fuel to the people that don't like vaccines and, the card and all that jazz. That, I mean, this was trying to keep people safe, and
Well, I
It's
think this is
telling how this will go as more gets revealed about this over time. As while SafeGraph isn't on the Google Play Store to kind of nip this in the bud, they've previously said themselves that it obtains location data through VeraSet, a spin-off company that interfaces with the app developers. Even though more would have been said about this, but SafeGraph did not respond to Vice to comment. So from one data mining site to a company that might be mining your data is Microsoft, who is we have an update on its OS, Windows 11, which I've heard is making greater strides than when it initially came out, and is currently testing Android 12.1 on its platform as well as other improvements for Windows 11. Now, Mike, did you get Windows 11 yet?
I did not. I I was looking at it and I kinda just wanna see how it affects other systems first. I know that my dad got it on his laptop and it kinda slowed things down a bit, but I heard they're coming out with some improvements here and there, it's just coming out slowly, so I wanna give it a little bit just for them to work out the bugs.
Right.
But I
Rightly
think
so.
some of this article was about the it was apps, right? It was the apps on Windows 11?
Yeah, as we
Your apps
previously covered on season 1 of this podcast,
so it's
Windows
Android
11 was
apps on
effectively
Windows
supposed to
11, right?
integrate with they wanted to integrate more with Android stuff
Okay.
and the Android store. So, like for instance, in this piece, they mentioned that Android apps will have notifications that look like the Windows notifications, and that the company also says that Android apps should behave better when you wake up your computer from standby. Instead of restarting, they just resume where they left off as well. So, a lot of there's a lot of UI and technical, not technical, but like very design centered focuses with this so far, as well as they did have a warning on the flip side of this that the upgrade to Android 12.1 or 12L may cause some apps to fail to launch initially, and that's just kind of like day zero thing, hopefully,
Day 0 bugs, yeah.
which
Um,
that happens with most things.
yeah, that's common. There's gonna be bugs, they're gonna work them out, and they're talking here I think to sum this up, they're just, "Hey, there's gonna be bugs, and we're gonna sort them out, we're gonna keep working on it," and, like, Microsoft's like, "We're not gonna stop supporting this, and we're gonna keep working out the bugs." So, overall, that's good news because it's good to
And
see that integration between,
it's
Android and, Microsoft.
it is integrating well with across Windows to Android, but moving on from there to a promotion that didn't integrate well was Grubhub, and a lot of you viewers out there probably use Grubhub or DoorDash and the likes, but I'll be brief on this as this happened just 2 days ago or 3 days ago at the time of recording on Wednesday in the City of Lights, not City of Lights, excuse me, the Big Apple, where they had a free lunch promotion that they tested on New York City on Tuesday, where on the 17th between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. you can use the promo code free lunch at checkout using Grubhub app to get up to $15 off their order. Sounds pretty nice, right? Like, how
That
many meals
sounds
is that, Mike?
insane, right?
I know it's for all of New York.
Especially in New York, like, who let this go through?
Yes, this is on. I don't know why I found it on this site, but you can find it on other places. But for this moment, I found it on YahooFinance.com because a lot of articles have pay windows now to even look at anything, which is nice of them. But to get a perspective of this, Chad V or Vignuel, I think I'm saying that right, explains the situation where he said, "We were hit right at 11 a.m. with 25 times our normal amount of orders with no way to deliver them out." And Chad is the owner of Harlem Public, a restaurant on Broadway and 149th Street, and that they use third-party delivery companies whose drivers are so slammed that they would just shut off their app because they cannot deal with the overwhelming buildup of orders. which again, New York City isn't a small city, and 3 hours is a lot of time to put in lunch requests that are free for a bunch of people. But I'm more of a DoorDash person personally, but
Yeah.
as someone
There's
that's
there's
done
other
DoorDash,
options too.
Mike,
Yeah, there's Uber Eats and all that. Yeah, I've done a couple DoorDashes. I just recently started up. Um, Honestly, if that was me, I understand what they're going through. I'd shut off my app too, or I just take the ones that are paying huge money, right? Um, so like I understand the pain they're going through, and I'm surprised they didn't see this coming. Like that's a big chunk of change they're offering off your order.
unprecedented demand is what they call it.
Yeah, and then the orders would just flood in because you could basically just get free lunches for everybody, and then and word spreads fast. So
I'm pretty sure the $15 would cover, I think, 2 orders of sushi at a New York place, or like even some pizza.
oh
I
yeah,
would say if they
I'm
qualify,
getting
but
hungry.
in total, supposedly, there were more than 450,000 orders that were done in 3 hours on a Wednesday, which is stupid that there's that many. Whoever came up with this idea is probably fired.
Right? I mean, it's a cool idea. Like they should definitely do promos, but
It's
maybe
nice.
not like something so huge. Maybe
Yeah,
just like a couple bucks off.
I would say maybe up to five.
Yeah, that way you're not like getting so many orders. Like
Y- eh,
that's just overwhelming.
And moving from that to more,
Speaking of overwhelming, let's talk about the diamond batteries that recently was released. I have 3 articles on here about diamond batteries. But let's just go over what these are. So they're basically just batteries made with man-made diamonds and nuclear waste, right? It sounds
yeah,
too good to be true. You're using nuclear waste and man-made diamonds to produce power, right?
yeah,
So
it's
this company made these batteries, and they're supposed to be better than all the other batteries for um just long-term power. Like it's a long-term power source. So uh as you can guess, a lot of markets looked at this and said a lot of companies that make technology are like, "This
ours.
is what
Yeah,
we need." Yeah. So one of the companies that uh looked at this and said, "We want this," was Toyota. They're like, "We want this in our electric cars." So Toyota's eating this up. So if you guys want to check out these articles, there's on YouTube. The first one is from Future Unity. It's called It Happened. Nuclear diamond batteries finally hit the market. Um, so that just kind of goes into explaining the how they're made and everything you need to know about the diamond battery. It's really interesting topic, so I definitely encourage you guys to check it out. Then the next one is It Finally Happened. Toyota finally reveals nuclear diamond battery.
I think they're all on the same channel,
Yeah, they're all the same channel, so if
but
you guys
it's
go
an
to
emerging idea which we like to
Future
cover on
Unity.
this show because the news likes to avoid emerging technology because you can't have people be hopeful. But
And then the last one, I think it's also from, uh,
it's Musk
Future
taking up
Unity,
his
right?
he's
Musk
putting his
is
hat in the
looking at the
fray.
same thing, right? He's like, "Yo, diamond battery, I'm on it." 'Cause
Yeah,
he has the phone that can use this, he has, like, a ton of his technologies can use this. His cars can use this technology, along with many other of his products. So, there's a lot of potential there. But I don't wanna go into this too deep because we're running low on time here, but definitely go check it out. It's just really cool. So, do your research on this. It's just nuclear diamond battery. It's great for the environment because 'cause you're using up nuclear waste that usually just gets stored in the ground.
mhm.
Uh, so definitely a really cool thing there. So let's go into more on Elon Musk here and Twitter.
Now, to kind of put this all in the bud with recent events, the sale for Twitter's gone on hold as I mean, he's made up on his promise to make it an open algorithm, which he did. and then some. It's just that the sale for Twitter has been on hold as well, shareholders are kind of getting a little bit antsy about this acquisition after he got money from sources like Qatar and Saudi Arabia, as well as um, other matters such as the share price sinking a little bit. But time will tell with Elon's sale of Twitter because it's kind of what's been keeping everyone in mind, you know. But in his other ventures, he's following through with it, like Tesla's ability to save lives.
Yeah, so the next TikTok we have or is about the Tesla bot, and they're talking about its potential to save lives. Um, what are your thoughts on this, Greg? They're saying that these bots can be used as law enforcement. They can be used as like let's say someone an ambulance driver, you know? They can
Yeah,
go into areas that are just not safe for humans. What are your thoughts here?
the the range that it can be is a potential good. I mean, there'll always be people against robots. Like there was the late Stephen Hawking that proclaimed his hatred of AI. But if we can monitor it and just make it be known that we're the bosses still, but here's a bot so we can not have cops get killed for stuff that we don't have time to do, like send out tickets for people that I don't know double park or try to look for somebody that's like held up in his house with potential explosives, like that's shown in that TikTok. Then it could be a potential good. But moving from Tesla bots to the nature of weightlessness. Tell me about this, Mike.
Oh yeah, so there's this really cool device. I saw a video of it on TikTok where it's kind of like a counterweight system. You're kind of like strapped into a harness, and you can. They're talking about using this with VR and AR, and it's kind of like just a counterweight on the one end, and then like a kind of rounded bottom up to the belt, and it gives you like it makes you feel like you're weightless, like or just low gravity. So you can like do like all kinds of like flips and tricks, and I think this would be really cool to implement into like an AR experience or a VR experience, like maybe a game where you I don't know are on the moon or something. So I think it'd be really fun. I just thought it was really cool to include there, and it's just a cool technology.
Effectively, yes, as well as other technologies like a window made of sand. Can you? Because sand's usually not fine with glass. Like sand and glass don't really get along. Like my two in-laws. Mm, well, not my in-laws. Like the different grandparents in my house. But yeah, this was made in Mexico.
Right? It's really cool. So it's there's sand in between the panels and the glass, right?
Yeah,
And if you wanna, like, black out your windows, you just flip it over and the sand pours into the window. I'm like, "This is just so cool." It's just a tiny little idea that has so much potential.
a
Like
lot
and,
of
like
potential and
yeah,
like just materials. Like I don't remember there being a drought of sand. There's deserts for that.
right? Oh my
Like
gosh.
sand dunes. Grab the sand. The sand dune.
I think that's really cool,
Make
and this is
window.
definitely something I put in my house. Like, I know, like, sometimes, like, I stay
A
up
lot
late
of
and I just wanna
stuff
sleep
like
through
we
the day.
find want to put in our house.
Yeah, I just wanna sleep through the day, right? Just flip your
Y-
window over and you sleep through the day, right? Because then your windows are blacked out, and, like, I have shades, but they're, like they let some light through, you know? So I think
Yeah,
this is a
I
really
have
cool
that in my
idea.
house.
Yeah, I want one of those. Anyway,
And our last story is another good piece of intuitive nature for something that seems on paper one dimensional. Bubbles saving the planet. Uh, to make it to kind of sum that one up for help you picture this. because we'll put all these TikToks in the podcast link that we put on YouTube and SoundCloud. The bubbles shoot the waste up so that it goes in a path that directly avoids clumping up.
Yeah, so it's just all these plastics that are in our water, they're terrible for the environment, right?
Yeah.
And, like, they go out to the ocean, they break down into microplastics, and then the fish eat them, and then we eat the fish, and, we wonder why we always get sick and stuff, like
Yep.
cancer and all that. So, this these bubbles, they put them in the water, right? And they shoot them up and push all the trash into, like, a bin or, like, a storage facility for the plastics so we can take care of them properly. So,
Rightly
yeah.
so.
It's just like a
Because
line of bubbles at the bottom of the water. It's a great invention.
it's just a good way to just clean everything up without us having to go in the water, but
Mhm.
using something simple in a great and intuitive way. Well, that's our show, everyone. Thank you for listening to again to us for our as this edition of the Tech IT podcast. Next episode, we're actually going to try to get a guest on the show that we're both familiar with as alumni from Kent State University. So that'll be a good treat to have him on the show. So please stay safe out there, and feel free to give us a like, a share with everyone in your circle that is into tech news, or just wants to hear about new different stories besides what's going on in the misery of the world.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, guys, and stay vigilant.
Stay vigilant, everyone. Bye.